Most common cause of thyroid dysfunction that I see in my clinical practice is thyroiditis, generally acute thyroiditis. I don't often see Graves' disease, toxic adenoma, thyroid malignancy, but most often I see acute thyroiditis. So thyroiditis is of two types. It is acute and chronic. If the thyroiditis goes on persisting for more than 6 months, more than a year, we call it chronic thyroiditis, right? And when the inflammation is chronic, it destroys the thyroid gland and patient can go into permanent hypothyroidism. So that one term called Hashimoto thyroiditis, that is chronic lymphocytic thyroiditis. So lymphocytic infiltration of the thyroid glands occur and it permanently destroys the thyroid gland, and we have to supplement levothyroxine in those cases for lifelong. I was talking about acute thyroiditis. So what are the causes of acute thyroiditis? So one is infection, either viral infections or bacterial infections, and another is post-infection. So after a patient gets any types of pharyngitis or any other viral bacterial infections, then immune cells directed against those viral bacterial proteins also can attack thyroid cells due to similarity in antigenic structure of the thyroid cells, right? So that can lead to acute thyroiditis. And other causes of thyroiditis can be drugs like lithium. This is a common cause of thyroiditis. Amiodarone, which is widely used for arrhythmia management, that can also cause thyroiditis. And another is radioiodine. One case I can remember, she underwent CCT chest, right? And after CCT chest, after 3 days, she started experiencing tremor, anxiety, palpitations, and we performed her thyroid function test and it was showing hyperthyroidism. She actually had multinodular goiter, but her TFT was normal previously, but after she went radioiodine exposure, she started experiencing hyperthyroid symptoms. So I told you that common causes are infection, post-infections, but other causes can be drugs like radioiodine contrast exposure, radiation, or sometimes when you palpate, right, thyroid gland, it can induce thyroiditis. Just palpation, right? So that is called palpation thyroiditis. It is not in all, but in some cases this mechanical pressure can also elicit thyroiditis. So that is acute thyroiditis. So when there is acute inflammation of the thyroid gland, then acute inflammation has two fate. Either it can resolve or it can go into chronic form, right? And ultimately, chronic inflammation leads to fibrosis. So when there is fibrosis of the gland is totally destroyed, right? Thyroid cells destroyed. But acute inflammation can get resolved. Generally, the cases we see, those are acute inflammation of the thyroid gland after infection, some infections. So when there is acute inflammation of these thyroid cells, then those cells rupture and release thyroid hormones, and those come in circulation and there is hyperthyroid phase. So when there is increased thyroid hormone circulating in the blood, it suppresses pituitary and TSS is suppressed, TSS is decreased, right? And patient can exhibit symptoms of hyperthyroidism, and it can last for 2 to 3 months, and after that what happens, that acute inflammation starts resolving, and TSS is already suppressed, so patient can go into hypothyroidism after experiencing hyperthyroidism. And after a hypothyroid phase, when the inflammation completely settles down, patient can become again normal, euthyroid, right? So generally, initially there can be hyperthyroid phase, then hypothyroid phase, and then it becomes normal. But the thyroiditis cases we generally see, patient can present at any phase, right? Patient can present even in hypothyroid phase. Patient may ignore initial symptoms when he had hyperthyroid symptoms, and when he experiences hypothyroid symptoms, he can come, and when you check their TFT, you found hypothyroidism, right? And one case I remember, she was young female, she did not have any hypo or hyperthyroid symptoms, but she just had neck pain. And when we did USG, it was showing inflammatory changes in the thyroid gland, so suggestive of thyroiditis. So it can be varied presentation. Patient might ignore the symptoms. Patient may be asymptomatic, or patient can exhibit varied symptoms when patient is having thyroiditis. And there are different types of thyroiditis. One is painful thyroiditis, another is painless thyroiditis. In painful thyroiditis, there can be pain in the thyroid gland, but in some painless thyroiditis, there may not be pain. So why I would like to talk about thyroiditis is that I want to discuss mostly about management aspect. In thyroiditis, these thyroid hormone synthesis inhibitor drugs like methimazole, carbimazole or propylthyracil, these are not useful. Even if you prescribe or don't prescribe, it does not matter, right? Because there is acute inflammation and those cells are bursting and those are releasing thyroid hormones. So there is no hypersynthesis of the thyroid hormones, unlike in Graves' disease or toxic adenoma, where there is increased synthesis of the thyroid hormones. There you have to suppress with carbimazole or propylthyracil. But in thyroiditis, you just need to give anti-inflammatory agent, right? Anti-inflammatory, and for calming down sympathetic activity, you can give beta blocker like atenolol. I generally prescribe atenolol, but some also prescribe propranolol. It has once dosing, that's why I prefer atenolol. But you can give propranolol as well. So beta blocker, and the patient is having inflammatory symptoms like pain, dysphagia, then we can also add NSAIDs, anti-inflammatory agents, that helps to relieve symptoms. And we can wait and watch, because this has natural history, and with natural history it can go towards resolution phase. So when any patient present with hyperthyroid symptoms and you check and TFT showing hyperthyroidism, and when you palpate the gland, if it looks diffusely enlarged, tender, then suspect thyroiditis than suspecting Graves' disease, because thyroiditis is more common than Graves' disease, right?